Okay, so for the sake of the recording, this is the Beersheba Springs Historical Society Board meeting for September 16th, 2025. I thought we'd start first. I was mentioning a moment ago because I'm not sure if everyone has actually even met. Is there anyone doesn't know? I'll just put it that way, or hasn't met, and we'll do some introductions.
Yeah, I haven't met everybody. Uh,
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do a round robin and just go around and just announce yourself and anything you want to say about, your relationship to Beersheba. We'll just go quickly through. So, Nancy, why don't we start with you?
Okay. Well, Nancy Rogers, we live on Grassy Ridge, and I'm married to Buddy Rogers. Buddy grew up here since he was like, I don't know, 8 or 9. And he's lived all over Beersheba and a lot of the houses that you've probably been to. We've been together since 2001. So that's, I guess, my introduction to Beersheba. And so love it and wouldn't be anywhere else. So,
And they
yeah.
have two lovely Australian shepherds,
Oh,
Coco
and
and
they're
Billy.
honorary. We do.
Okay. Theresa, let's go with you.
Teresa Carl, and we have Peach Blossom Cabin on Armfield. And I've been coming since I was 3 to Beersheba. But,
Hey.
mhm. And yeah, and I've been on this board a long, 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 long time ago, maybe under Susan's leadership and also Joan Almond's. So
Wow.
I'm happy to be, I just came back on this past cycle. So happy to be here.
I think I came across some of Joan's files in the back room of the museum yesterday.
Yeah.
Somebody was very organized between like 2003 and 2010 or so. Was that Joan's time or was
That
she
would have
earlier?
been Susan or Joan. They're the
Yeah.
organizational
yeah.
wizards. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Teresa. Aaron, over to you.
Yeah, Aaron Hendrickson. I'm a Johnny come lately to Beersheba Springs. Have lived in Lover's Leap for a few years. Before that, I had a small property in the valley that I visited, but happy to be part of the board and help out however I can.
Excellent, Aaron. Thank you. And Aaron has some other board experience with the Friends of the Parks, as some of you may know. And if you drive down 56 going the valley, you'll see this interesting building being worked on. And Aaron can tell you about that when he feels up to it, but it's his project going on down there. So, Sanford, to you.
Well, I grew up in Beersheba. My grandparents moved up to the mountain in 25 and bought the Cockrell Cottage, one of the Armfield houses, which had a huge lot on it. So we had a barn farm in the valley. So we had, a true homestead, bees, apple orchard, big, huge garden, potato patch, chickens, ducks, a pig or two, you know. And so the last little slice of the Cockrell property is where my dad built our smaller house after World War II, and that's what we still have. That's where we grew up, and we still have that house now. Although my brother and I have decided that we're going to sell that since we're not over there that much. So Beersheba is always close to me and always will be, even if we don't have our place there. So I'm not too far away. So that's glad. And I've been involved with the Historical Society since the beginning. Margaret Coppinger was my great aunt, and I would just go even when I was in college and just go and sit with her as she would pull out articles and this and start pulling together the things that really made the museum. So I'm very happy to be involved with that and love seeing the growth and what's happening with Beersheba.
Thank you, Sanford. I was thinking of her yesterday, again, going through some of the files. I came across the original incorporation, if you will, of the first charter for the Historical Society that Margaret was one of the signers for in 1981 or 83. And are actually the first copy that I've seen of the original tax exempt status that I'd been looking for quite some time. I have one that was a renewal in 2011, but this is the one that goes back to 1983. So, again, a lot of note about Margaret there and tons of clippings. So when you said that, I know what you're talking about. Newspaper clippings all over the place. So,
Have you come across? I know in the beginning there, because one of the main things was to be able to designate Beersheba as a National Historic
yeah,
District.
yeah.
So everybody that had cottages were encouraged to write letters, of which I did for ours. And I just wondered if those have been found.
The originals, are you talking about, or the document that we?
The being able to the letters that were brought together to send to the
Right.
folks that were able to designate a National Historic Area.
Yeah, you can
Anyway,
actually get to the document that includes copies of all those on the website. If
oh,
anybody needs
okay.
help finding that, I'll point it out. But that's the original. It's got the application plus all that detail in it. I don't know about the original versions of those letters. I think they are somewhere in there, but that I don't. I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out, and we can come back to this later, is what to do with our Beersheba records. We took archival things from overall history to the Grundy archives, but the stuff that has to do with running the historical society and that stuff that you just mentioned, I'm trying to see where we want to keep those, that they're safe and clean and preserved. But
I'm just wondering what year that was, about what year.
oh, 1980, I think. I can bring it up on the website. We can take a
Okay.
look.
Yeah, I thought it was early 80s anyway.
Yep.
So I was just curious. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, Sylvia, over to you.
We are living on Adams Lane. We moved in last a year ago in June. So very excited. We're gonna have, as soon as we're back, we're gonna have our hardscaping done outside. Someone's gonna come help us with the terraces. So I'm really looking forward to that. My husband David, he has been coming. His family has had the White House for generations. So
Uh-huh.
we have, and he has brought me up here, and we just liked it so much that we decided to build a house and live here.
Wonderful. Yeah, they've got a really, if you've not seen the place, it is an amazing piece of art in a way. The windows
Yes.
alone are pretty incredible. And Sylvia's brother, right, did the woodwork inside. That's really quite a craft.
Right.
Yeah. So very cool. Thank you, Sylvia. And Sylvia will, when she gets the chance, be teaming up with Larry to pass on the treasure stuff. And we'll talk about some of that today too. Oh, here comes Susan into the meeting. So Elizabeth, to you.
I'm Elizabeth Gerken. My husband Greg and I got a place in Beersheba back in 2010. So I guess we're kind of newbies compared to a lot of you. 15 years isn't long in the life of a Beersheba connection. We live in Nashville most of the time. We still have a teenager in high school, so we're pretty Nashville focused for now. But we're really excited once he heads off to college about kind of being up there for very extended periods of time. So I think that's going to be an exciting new season for us. Our place is down the road from Nancy and Aaron's on Grassy Ridge. We were introduced to Beersheba in the early 2000s by a Nashville couple who invited us for the weekend. So my husband and I both hail from Missouri. We are not native Tennesseans, but landed in Nashville because of college and also work. We both had careers in the healthcare industry. And so it's just been, Beersheba is a treasure. And I can say that as someone from another state, but it's an absolute treasure. And we really do love it. And we're very excited about this new season of being able to be up there once William's in college. So you'll be seeing more of us, I think, very soon.
Excellent. And I told Elizabeth, I said, if they don't come soon, I'm going to go squat in their place because it's so beautiful. It must be inhabited.
Thank you. So we do
No,
love it. You're right.
it
We
is
love it.
wonderful. It's the Alpha Adams place, right?
It is. Alice Earthman Tyne lived there before us. And when she passed away, it became for sale. And we found Greg was like, had a really busy day at the office and just for fun turned on the computer to see what was available in Beersheba because we'd been thinking about this for years. And literally, Trudy had listed it that day. And he came home and said, wow, I think we should look at this. It was just like it was meant to be. It kind of, all the timing was right. Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah, it's amazing how it just kind of works out around here.
You're right.
Susan, I see you've joined. We're just going around and introducing ourselves because I know not everybody has had the personal meet and greet. Do you want to say a bit about yourself and Beersheba? Let me see if she may not be hearing me. Okay. All right. We'll move on. And Susan, if you are hearing, we'll pick up with you when you can get audio going. So to get us going, I've got some slides that my usual thing is I try to put things visually so we can work with them as we talk. I put here on this slide, I'm not sure that all of you, because we don't really throw this around much, but this mission statement has been around for a while. And I put it on this slide as a reminder, and you'll get these slides later. But one of the things that I try to harken back to is, are we aligning with that mission still? And I personally think this is still very relevant today. Sometimes visions change, but missions tend to stay the same as the purpose of an organization. And so this mission, I think there's some key words, and Elizabeth and I were referring back to this recently because of the work on the logo. And when we can bring that logo to you all, which will be, we'll talk about it later, will be relatively soon. You'll see how some of that ties in. But just as a reminder of that mission statement, and I may start putting it like at the bottom of our emails or something because we haven't really shared it a lot with our membership directly, I think, in some time. So that's one thing just as a reminder, and it may be new, probably is new to many of you. So speaking of new, thank you for introducing, and I know it took a little bit of our time, but I think that's really important because we may sometime get to be in person, but we can't do it all the time. When we can, I may see if when we do these meetings, those of you that are in Beersheba, if you want to come over and we could at least have part of us together and then do Zoom with everybody else. So we'll follow up on that. But going back to new, Sylvia, Nancy, and Aaron, I'm thinking that maybe when you're all here, we'll have a lunch or something. And there's just some basic things I thought it might be good that you have some background on as we talk about them. Because I think that caught us last year with some of the folks when they came in and we hadn't really given them much about where things were and some basics. So
Okay.
I'll see, Sylvia, I think you're back at the end of the month. Is that correct?
Correct. I'm back on the 20th, the Friday of the barn dance.
26, yeah. Okay.
I assume
Well,
you're going to talk about the barn dance later on, right?
yeah, we'll come to that. Yep. So I'll see if the three of us can, or the four of us can get together at some point, just give a little bit of background on some things, just so they're not surprises to you. But here's the things I sent in an email. Now, this is an ambitious agenda, so I'm going to be careful about moving us along on the things that aren't as timely and critical today. I tend to overschedule my agenda, so I have to be better about editing, to be honest. But we'll do what we can on the things that are really priority for the day. And if there's any other business anyone wants to raise that's timely, do feel free to let me know that. I typically try to send this at least a week ahead so you can look at and say, are we going to talk about this or that? I apologize. I didn't get on top of the timing this time. So to get us started, we typically do a check on the previous minutes. I sent those in the email yesterday. You may or may not have gotten to see them. And if you're new to the board, some of those things you wouldn't have had the background of the conversation. So I apologize for that. But just in general, is there someone who is willing to make a motion to approve those minutes?
I move that we approve them.
Okay. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay. Anything anyone wants to discuss or bring up? Thanks, Aaron. About questions or concerns about the minutes themselves. Okay. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's usually a pretty simple one. We'll just move on. When Elizabeth finishes the minutes, we send them out to you so you have much more time to look at them ahead, those of you that are joining us for the first time. So the first thing I wanted to do, and we won't go too deep into this, but I wanted to give us a chance just to reflect on the year. and say, what are the things we thought went really well? This is called a plus delta. Some of you may have done this exercise. And then what are the things we could improve on? Not necessarily what was bad, but what could we improve on in the future? So I'm just going to run us through this briefly and just anything top of mind. And if there is something, that's great. If there's not, fine. Because then we're going to talk about what does 2026 start to look like for us. So let's just go into programs first. Any comments about what you thought went well with the program? So we had uh, Camille Westmont in May talking about the Lone Rock Stockade. We had Mike Oliver in June talking about Civil War in Grundy County. And then we had Iva Michelle and Joel Gray in July sharing about South Cumberland tourism. And then we had our annual meeting, which had a short program with Rick Huffines in August. So, any comments about what you think went well with the programs this summer? Things you liked or you thought people accepted well or appreciated?
Andrew, I'll say I like your emails. I think your emails out to the large organization have been great. You know, you've got them structured in kind of a newsletter format. You've brought a marketing sensibility to it, and they're easy to read and look inviting. I think that's been a nice improvement.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I thought all the programs were well received, and we had a good turnout, so I think they were successful.
Yeah, our numbers in general have been quite strong this year, which was good to see. Yeah.
We weren't here at all for programs, sadly, but the diversity of what you offered, and I think just the topics and the depth that they went into, it sounded like I was really sad that we weren't there. But so I thought the thought that went into providing sort of a rich program array was really good.
And I think, it was a happy coincidence in a way. Theresa, you knew about Camille, Sanford, you knew about Mike, and it just kind of evolved. And I was playing something totally different in July, and then we just had to shift gears because I had to be away. And from what I heard, it went well, and that was a totally different topic than we might have gone towards otherwise. So. Yeah. Let me just open up. I'll say, let's not just limit it to programs. So all that stuff at the top, programs, barn dances, museum, the fair, booth, communications, just anything you want to mention about the year that you think went well, and then we'll jump to the other side.
I've got another one. I think I've been on this board for a while, probably longer than I should have been. I don't know how that happened, but we've done a nice job as a group about looking a little bit to the future. It was mostly just sort of let's make sure people pay dues and let's schedule some programs. And now we're talking about a few things that probably really needed to be talked about, like the museum building and whether or not it's a stable, viable building for the future. What we want to do with our historic materials and the archiving of those and the restoration of those. So I think that's a positive for this group. It was probably time to do some of this future looking, but this board's been really good about that. I would put that in the positive column.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Good.
Unfortunately, we were only there for one program this summer. We missed everything else for meetings or just because we were gone. So.
Yeah, and no worries, folks. We know that's the way it's gonna always be. So, we comment on what we know. Yeah.
Right. But I do like too that it's not just a gathering, but there's very interesting information in some way about Beersheba included.
Mm-hmm.
Really great.
Okay, good. Okay, let's just jump on the other side. Anything you would like to see improved or changed based on the experience of this year for any of these things at the top of the slide there? Programs, barn dances.
I like the barn dance, and I think it's always great, but I'm just wondering how more of the Beersheba community can get involved and come. It feels like there's so many locals. They all go to the baseball game that day, but
Yep.
they don't come to the barn dance.
Mm-hmm.
Just a question how to,
Yeah,
you know,
they won't reschedule for me. I don't know what it is.
It's been an ongoing challenge, Sylvia. You're right. Yeah.
Now we have
Um,
a few, like I was pleased to see Leticia King, who's on the town council, was there, and uh oh shoot, there's a couple
I
other
hadn't seen
folks.
her before there, so that was nice.
Who's that?
I hadn't seen her before
Oh
for
yeah.
the other one downstairs, so that was really great to see.
Yeah, she actually called me yesterday. I'll tell you about this, but I'll tell you later. It has to do with the museum. It was a funny phone call, but yeah, no, that was good. And she's one of the people I personally invite each time I send something to because she and the community center folks who are on the advisory board there, because they all seem to say, okay, we'll try it, but unless you reach out personally, they don't tend to do it. Susan, I see your note about 4th of July, so much going on. I assume that has to do with saying maybe it's tough to get other people on that date because there are so many other competing things, is my takeaway from that. Would that be right, Susan? I see your chat note. I'll just mention that. That's a good point. Large crowd deters locals in the parade. Okay. Okay.
I know this is kind of simplistic, but have we ever, has any effort gone into like just stopping by the ball field and say, hey, come on by when you're finished with your game. We've got some good food. Don't worry about bringing a side because we know you're just leaving the ball game. I mean, just something to, I mean, they'll see the signs at the store and stuff like that, but um, I don't know, just a personal, hey, come on by. This is
That's,
yours.
that's
Yours too.
certainly
This is
something
not
that'd
just
be
to
easy
you.
to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I did put up posters on their bulletin board over there, which I don't know that they appreciate having it there, but um, at least it was in the view of when they go to the get food at the at the little stand there.
you can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I was afraid I muted myself by mistake, which might not be bad. But you also have posters at the market, don't you, Andrew, and around the community center and
Yeah, where I typically put them is community center, post
Mhm.
office, market, library, museum.
Is
That's
it?
my
I don't. This is just a random thing that just popped into my head. But is it appropriate at church announcements?
Hmm.
Oh, we could share that with the parishes or the excuse me, I should say
Mhm.
the churches in the area and say feel
Mhm.
free to yeah.
I
I
think
think
maybe
that,
also at the dumpster, where everybody brings their trash, everybody goes
um,
there.
yeah.
That's true.
So the thing, when I first was introduced to Beersheba, Odessa Brown was alive and loved her dearly. And so it was like the city people. So you had the city people
Yeah.
and so like when the mountain, I'm going to do air quotes here. I don't know if you can see it. Air quotes, mountain people. Um, I don't know if they feel included. Is
No.
my
Yep.
is my point in that. And so it I think if our effort is to have more attendance by the locals, then we need to make a more concerted effort to reach the locals. Is
Yeah.
that was just my
It's,
point.
you're
And that's been
right.
a regular, sorry, Teresa.
No, pardon me. It's just that ongoing us and them thing that
Yes,
has for eons been
you're right,
summer
right.
summer people, and but now those lines are blurring a little bit. But
They are.
Sanford, you speak up because you have a unique position as born, bred, raised, and
Right.
living.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a mountain person, our folks moved up there and lived around, the whole year and always merging with the summer people and the mountain people, has always, even growing up, there was a mix that used to be on the store next to our house. That's now, the front porch is gone, but that was sort of a gathering place. And a lot of the summer people I know, the young Adams, Garrett Adams, and some of the kids would hang out with my folks. There was this sort of mix of that. And also with the, Margaret Coppinger, who's a mountain person, and being a Brown. So there's always been that. It seems like, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to come onto the board, to try to, even though I haven't actually lived in Beersheba full time since I was a kid, but I've been back and forth, and we still, have a place there. But it's like trying to figure out how to do that. It's almost like if we could figure out somebody that has sort of a connection with the families that we can get to know, and get somebody in the family to mention it at dinners on Sunday or something like that, So, and many of you all, being there more than I am, know those folks. I know I maybe know their parents or grandparents from when I was growing up, So just, yeah, like, like I've never met Latisse, and I know that and members that are on the Beersheba Council, and so so we could maybe make a little more effort for those of you that do have a connection with some of those, to just remind them that we really, please pass word on to your family and friends to come to this.
Those are great ideas. We struggle with this at a regular basis as a board, and we've talked about various ways to do some of that. But these are some good additional ideas, I think. And Nancy, to your point, I think we are trying to see how do we cross that bridge. This happened like with trails and trilliums. I mentioned to a few folks. I was talking to Marsh King once, and oh, well, that's not for us. And I said, well, actually it is. It's for anyone who wants to come. And, it's wonderful workshops because she likes wildflowers. I said, you would love to, hear the presentations and that kind of thing, even if you don't do hikes and stuff. And I think we have to just keep chipping away at it. But these are good points about how do we get the inroads that others then start to talk about it in their own circles and increase that a bit. I've tried to do, you speaking of the posters, one of the things I've tried to make clear is it's free.
Yeah.
It's no charge. It's a free dinner. It's free entertainment, etc. So, just come on. It's for all ages, which I don't have those words on the poster. I should probably do that. But anyway, I think we can keep hammering away at that message. But also to the point about the ballpark is, maybe probably in September, we may have a conflict on that date. I need to know how to find those schedules, if anybody knows about that, because I know they're quite schedule heavy. In fact, somebody was mentioning about when always Letisa was telling me about when they have all these, I'm not a sports person, but all these competing teams come together in Beersheba.
Tournaments.
Yeah, is it a tournament? Okay. And because we were talking about parking and stuff, but anyhow, I think we just need to keep chipping away. Aaron, did it look like you were going to say something? No, okay. I didn't want to talk over anyone.
Andrew, I wonder if for those of you who are up there on the mountain all the time, do you have a sense of whether there is a social media thing that the locals are using more? Is there a Facebook page that they frequent, or another way we can get the message out about the barn dances and our activities? I don't know, because I'm not up there enough to really know yet. Does anybody who's up there a lot know the answer to that?
Well,
There's several Facebook pages.
yeah, there's several Facebook.
Utilized by the local folks or just by the summer folks?
No, utilized by local.
Mhm.
Well, I would suggest then that we use that, that we consider making sure we're promoting on those in those ways.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I've been putting stuff there, and actually Lynn, forget her last name, it's Lynn Hoyt, I think. As soon as I put out the newsletter about the barn dance, she posted it on the Friends of Beersheba Springs page. So some people beat me to it, but I've been doing that, but maybe there's other groups I don't know about, like the ballpark folks. I wonder if they have a
hmm
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. I would reach out to what's her name that just did the last presentation.
Oh,
Uh,
Ivan?
yeah, reach out to Ivan. Tell her about the upcoming barn dance. She'll promote it on Morning on the Mountain.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I've given her that. We are getting in the Messenger and the Herald now, but I haven't put barn dances just because I don't know if we can handle the word across Grundy County.
Right, right.
But we
I,
put
I
the programs in there. Yeah.
Okay.
so I'm looking at a little bit more grassroots, and it's like when we're at the parade, which would be a fantastic time because everybody's at the parade, whether you're local or just summer people. But um, all kinds of families, and just it's almost like bring a family to church day. It's like bring a family to the barn dance day. So maybe every board member is tasked with, bring a new family that has kids,
Mhm.
a local family to the barn dance. That's what we're all kind of, challenged with. So I don't know, just something,
I like
anything to
that.
get on a personal level with them.
What about on the parade, be part of the parade and promote the barn
I
dance?
Yeah.
thought about that.
Yeah.
Just have
Oh,
the
have a
cars and
float.
the big posters and
Do we
no.
want to have a float?
Ooh,
Yes,
good.
yes, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we could.
We
Have a few
certainly could.
flyers maybe with candies and I
Yeah.
don't know, but on the float and big both sides, big info about the barn dance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like
Listen,
a
I'm gonna,
sail on a boat or I don't know on something.
yeah, that's right. Puts it out there, doesn't it?
Whatever historical come up, make it fun.
Mhm.
Something people talk about, right? Something,
Yeah.
I don't know,
I'm going to close this off
time
just
or whatever.
yeah. So I'm going to
Make
move
it
us on because this particular topic I know full well from our history we can go on quite some time about. And it's not that we don't need to do it, but just I'm not sure we can cover this all today, but we need to keep our radar open for these ideas. I'm going to throw a couple things out from my own perspective. Let me ask you all how do you feel about there being two barn dances a year? Do we need to do two? Do we want to keep doing two? Attendance is less in September. Obviously, it's not around a holiday when when all the families come in, etc. Um, I'm not saying we shouldn't, just posing the question, does anybody feel one way or another about whether we do two or one?
I really like two. I think it's our key community event. I think it's bigger than even our programs, as much as I love the intellectual stuff of the programs.
Okay.
I vote for two.
Anyone
Well, they're
else?
both in the fall. They're both in the fall. So might we? Well, I'm sorry, one is in the summer, but change it into the spring because it seems like fall is it's a wonderful time for the hay rides and things like that. But does it conflict with more things with the families in the fall than what it would in like May? I don't know. I like the idea of two for sure.
I personally like fall.
Okay.
But it's just a personal thing. I like two dances also.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, and I don't know if that's the right venue or not. Can we have some T-shirts there to sell, or is that the wrong venue?
Have what? I'm sorry.
Some T-shirts to sell, some Christmas
Oh,
ornaments. Or do we have to do it at the museum? But just something Berkshire Springs Historical Society, especially with the new logo.
hmm.
Then it also
Maybe, or
drives.
maybe something to give away.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I like to as well. I feel like I haven't been to. We will be at the September one, but I haven't been. I don't think in a couple of years, and that one feels more like that's for the summer people. I think that's just because the attendance is so much less. But
Which one? The one in the one in July
the
is
one in
September?
September, the one in
Oh,
September, and
is
remember in the spring in April, back to Trails and Trilliums, there's a
oh,
wine
that's true.
wildflowers already.
Yeah, that's true. Lots of things. Yeah.
I don't want to ignore Susan's note. She said, let's keep doing two as long as Howell continues to subsidize. So just to let you all know, in the past, Howell has written a check to cover basically most all the expenses. Now, that is not the case this year, and I don't think we can rely on that going forward, to my knowledge. Various reasons why.
Mm.
So we will be handling that cost as far as I can tell going forward.
What is the cost per event?
It's roughly, we paid too much for food in July, to be honest, but it balances out to around $3,000 between the entertainment. Um,
Can we
well,
turn it
hayride
into
piece is rather low, but the entertainment, the food, decorations, etc.
can we turn it also into a fundraiser or have a fundraising event for the Historical Society at some time during the year and just maybe see if we can do some, I don't know, some silent auction things or
With the
something. If you need to get money if you to cover the cost for this event, if there is there a way to do that? If Paul is not paying for it, is there another way to cover the cost?
Well, in the past, and we sort of drifted away from this during COVID times, we had a membership fee. It was small. It was not, large. I want to say it was $25, $35. And so we sent out an email and it was sort of annually, everybody kind of upped their dues, or you could buy a lifetime membership for like 100 and 125. And that was our big revenue generator. For years, Sylvia, during COVID, as I said, we weren't doing in-person events and we sort of fell off of that. But we've had some discussion before you got on the board about maybe bringing that back. And we have to recognize if and when we do launch into museum renovations, we may well need a more regular funding source. So we might want to revive that. But that is how we used to generate revenue.
Yeah, and we still have, we just haven't promoted it recently. We do get some life memberships automatically, which, just to clarify, is 150. Should someone ask you, it's on the website as well. Um, and and then we get ad hoc donations occasionally. There are a couple for 500 each this year. It just depends on, people and their connection, etc. Um, yeah, Susan, if you want to do that, go ahead. There's some shift in what's going on there, and I can share that later. I'm going to move us along, except one other thing I was going to mention. Sorry. Oh, this is a improved thing, which we'll come back to. We really need a new tent for the crafts fair if we continue to do it. We had some real issues this year. So I'm just going to put that as an improve. Um, and we can talk about, every year I think it's good to evaluate, is it worth us doing? I'll share some more about this year's one as we go. So I'm going to move us on. On this note, though, I would like to advocate for a member survey. We did one a few years ago. And I think this might be a good year to do it. We don't need to do it at the end of this year, but I'll bring it up at our next meeting and talk about, see if we all feel comfortable doing that. This is one of the things any of the organizations that I've been tying to say we must do. Um, and it's an interesting thing. There's a couple of places where I have listed our organization as a nonprofit, and one of the things they want to know is that you're reaching out to your membership on a regular basis and asking for feedback. So I think it helps us as well, but it's also something that that happens with some grant organizations as well,
Yeah.
that they expect.
What is the number of current members?
Well, we don't have true members anymore, but on our distribution list, there's just over 200.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move us on to 2026. We don't need to get deep into this. I'd like to use our November meeting to talk more in depth about programming. So put your thinking caps on over the next couple months, and I'll do a reminder to you about that. We need to, in my opinion, the earlier we get going, the better options we have for getting maybe some people we really want to hear from. Sometimes it just happens. It happened very beautifully in an organic way last spring, especially with what Sanford and Theresa brought to the table. So, but I think in addition, though, if we get some topics, the other thing that's going on this year is it is next year the semi-quincentennial which is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So there's a lot of big America 250 programs going on at the federal level, state level, and some counties as well. In Tennessee, there's quite a bit, and there's a website that is in that document I shared with you in email yesterday that you can link to and go see. Along with that, there are two grants. And we just missed the deadline, but there's another deadline for those grants coming up in January. And I'd like us to take a look and consider if we'd like to go for one, because I think we are more than eligible for what they provide. Now, they're not humongous grants, and I don't think what we're doing would tell them to give us thousands of dollars, but it's a good thing. And then if we put on our hats and think, do we want to tie into that in some fashion? Do we want to talk about um, the way the Tennessee one is, they're not saying you have to tie into having been a part of the Revolutionary War or something, it's more about celebrating history overall, which we do to a point, right? So if you get a chance to look at that website, that'll tell you more. But I think we could tie some of our programming theme in there somehow. So that's something for us to consider. We don't have to, but it's something to think about. And I've got two documents I'm going to show you in a slide that are two things that come from previous times in Beersheba, that the sesquicentennial and what was the other one? Bicentennial, I guess it is, were celebrated. The other thing I put here is we have some ideas kind of left over that we were talking about before. One is the Beersheba Artist Program, which was what I was going to do last July, but had to delay. And then we've mentioned a few times about how can we capture oral history and maybe bring that into something we do more about or have a program around. We've had a few requests come from people. Bill Howell continues to ask me about things that we can talk about as far as where there was slavery in this area, etc. Whether we want to go those directions or not is another story. And then someone else mentioned about doing something else around Civil War times, like Mike Oliver did with Grundy County. And so there's a bit of interest that's come my way from that. Susan, I see your note. I do think Howell continues to. Oh, okay. Susan's going to chat with Howell about the subsidy piece. So anyhow, and you may have heard people say, or you your own have ideas. So let's bring all that together at our November meeting to start talking about where do we maybe want to start to focus on for programming next year. We don't have to settle it before the end of the year, but I think if we get our thinking caps going in the same direction. I came across this, and some of you that have been around longer would know better, but 1983, the sesquicentennial, there was apparently a program. And this is the document I found. There was a Beersheba Run, exhibit of antiquities on loan from the Tennessee State Museum and the hotel. You can see the list of things that were going on. Kind of cool. Beersheba Kane fancy dress ball in the basketball court at the rear of the hotel. How about that? So there you go. And there was a sing-along the night before and talent show. And then I found this brick. It is a granite brick.
Yeah.
The bicentennial. Does anybody know about that one?
Yeah, we have one somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe I'm confusing it with the brick from the Altamont jail. I'm not sure. No, I mean, really, a lot of us have those.
Yeah, I have one of those.
So anyhow, there's been some, at least this one is one thing that, and actually 1983 was a significant time for the official charter pretty close to the time of the official charter of the Historical Society. So it was probably a really great time to have a celebration like this. So we can come back to that idea if it's something we want to tie into our programming for next year. Yeah. All right, I'm going to stop and turn it over to Theresa. Theresa, Susan, and John have been a special committee looking at our scholarship. Last year, for those of you that haven't been a part of this conversation, we had some looking at and some concern about the criteria we've had around the scholarship, the fact that we're getting fewer applications. Do we want to go on the same way? Is it really doing what the intent was, et cetera? So they've been talking about that. And Theresa, I'll turn it to you to share what you all have been discussing and want to propose. Yeah.
Okay. And Susan, we can't hear you, but write any comments as I go along, just encapsulating this. So Susan, John, and I met with this in mind to look at the Leonard Tate Scholarship. And for those of you who are new, let me just reiterate again, for many, many years, the Society has awarded the Leonard Tate Scholarship to a deserving Grundy County High School senior. And that was someone who's recommended generally by a guidance counselor or teachers or sometimes someone else. And the original purpose was to provide funds to assist the worthy student in reaching their higher education goals. So to help defray expenses. What we've noticed along the way is that we've gotten fewer and fewer applicants. We had 2 last year. Some of them had not met the original criteria, and we know that the accessibility now of the Tennessee Promise has been really wonderful in providing the funding that students need, many of whom are no longer going to 4-year colleges, but going to different 2-year schools or other types of schools. And also, we really were interested in impacting the Burshaba Springs community in a broader and deeper way than was originally stated. So we looked at it with those thoughts in mind. And we believe that we have come up with a recommendation that we want to present to the board to provide an opportunity to tick off some of the boxes of being more accessible and being more inclusive and having a broader impact and hitting an important need along with our mission and tying into the legacy of Leonard Tate. And also a way to provide some really help build some more life skills for students. So that title, and this is just a draft, and again, you will get what I'm talking about so that you can review it and marinate on it. It would be the Leonard Tate Writing Workshops presented by the Burshaba Springs Historical Society. And the idea would be to host several, maybe a couple initially, maybe 3 or even more, of writing workshops for rising juniors, seniors, and even possibly adults in the community, beginning probably in late summer or early fall of 26. And we would invite guest professionals, for example, from Swanee or our own community, who are writers and who have different skills and different types of writing. For example, the foundations of writing, creative writing, technical writing, journalistic writing. And we would host those workshops in Burshaba, providing snacks and materials and so forth, where we could let folks who participate, students who participate, begin to kind of get some extracurricular, in-depth knowledge and experience in honing their writing skills as a communication skill that we feel like is important and ties into the understanding of not only of history, but of how to communicate in the world that we're in, both where they are now and where they hope to be. And so and as Susan and John and I brainstormed, we realized that we actually do have a variety of resources in the community itself that might really give us some different kinds of experience. For example, the person who is over the Grundy County Herald and writes for that, or others who are creative writers, written children's books. There's a lot more talent there than we might realize at the beginning. So we know that the plan is in draft form. We're going to send you this document. We would love to have your thoughts and comments and feedback over time, and know that we realize to execute the plan, we have to have people, we'd have to have a budget, we determine dates, location, and so forth. We're still honing down to that aspect of it, but we're excited about the possibility of broadening and deepening opportunity for our students and possibly adults. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. I think this is exciting. Thoughts, comments before we let you look at the document that's coming?
I think that's a great idea.
Mhm.
It seems like the original, that we've evolved with this whole scholarship, and like was mentioned at past meetings, that the students that want to go into college already get free tuition through the programs, and I think concentrating it on writing skills connects it more with Leonard, and I think it's a great idea.
I agree with that, and for a couple of additional reasons too. Whereas the scholarship benefits one person, these workshops can benefit many, and many more than what just one person, would benefit from. And so, to me, that it's kind of a ripple effect, and more information about the Beersheba Springs Historical Society. And I mean, they're just little things. So like if you have 5 students that come to a workshop, and then you have 10 that come to another workshop, well, that's 15 people that's been touched by the Historical Society. And so I think that would just grow over time. So I love that idea.
Cool.
I think I'm going to suggest that we really touch base with the high school, either a teacher, a guidance counselor, to get a real good feel for whether or not this is going to resonate with students. I'm parenting a high school teenager right now in Nashville, and my concern, and I would want somebody at Grundy County High School to assess this because maybe it's different than down in town, is that most high school students right now, and I don't mean to be the bearer of just kind of depressing news because it upsets me a little bit. I'm an avid reader and I love to write. They are not interested in reading or writing. And it's a problem for our country, but we might be fighting some headwinds that we can't fight. They write with AI, and the schools are even now incorporating AI writing in. I think we really would want to read from the high school. Does this work with young people? It may work with us. I mean, I'd go. I think this is interesting, but I know that I'm not the one you're trying to reach with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, to your point, Elizabeth, it's interesting you mentioned AI because that was something that I think John brought up initially. And we've actually thought about having someone who would come in and actually that would be part of a workshop. Of if you're going to use it, how are you going to use it? Because it's here and they are going to use it.
And it's a cool topic. And the way that teachers are working really hard to figure out how to incorporate it without it being sort of a cheating tool, they're trying to make it work in their classes. But I want a real read from, is anybody going to show up for this? Number one. And then number two, I want to figure out how in the world we're going to get the manpower to organize it, run it, staff it, because it's going to be a manpower thing. And I know, Andrew, that's a struggle, right? When we need help with the barn dances, it's a struggle. I mean, cleaning up stuff. So we have to be realistic. And I love this idea. I hope I'm saying that enough. I do not want to throw water on it, but I'm raising some things that are sort of, oh, can we do this? Do we have the capacity to do it? And will the kids come?
Good. I've got both of those things noted, but I appreciate that a lot.
And let me draw attention to Susan's note in chat. By the way, I had not enabled the everyone option in chat for some reason. So now it's there. So you were not seeing her messages. I was earlier. So now she's able to do that. So she's put in there, this would require a few materials, college essay considered here too. So there's a nice tie to something practical that like graduating seniors, if they're applying and need to write essays, maybe we tie a workshop to how do you do that well?
A lot of the schools they're applying to don't require an essay. Again, reporting in from the parenting field and the senior and high school field, I can tell you that a lot of these Tennessee schools, UTC, the kinds of places that we see in our scholarship applicant pool don't require essays.
Okay.
So y'all, yeah.
That's my ignorance there. She also mentions Cordelia Spicer.
Resumes, they do.
You all may remember Grace Spicer, who was our scholarship winner 2 years ago. Cordelia, as she says, is the former guidance office person at the high school. So anyhow, that's another person we could read.
It'd be great to ask. Good idea, Susan.
I think your point is really well taken about testing I mean, throwing it out to teachers, even parents, or actually students too, and to determine that. But I also truly believe that it's something we could build upon, and even if it's multi-generational, it might be really cool. There might be an opportunity at the end for people to use their presentation skills to talk
Yeah.
about what they've done as well. I
Could
don't
we
know.
tie it? Oh, I'm sorry. I was just thinking,
No,
going
no,
back to
go.
oral history, could we tie it to them taking down stories from their families, from people who have the local history, etc.
Yeah.
Not, I don't know if that's inspiring for them, but that
Mhm.
would be a great tie to what we do.
You know,
So let me ask. So this past year, there were only two applicants
Correct.
for. Okay, so to me, and I do understand and appreciate the impact that AI is having, and not sure I love it, but that's the reality of it. But I think that we would at least have two students out of a class of how many students are in high school in the junior and senior class. I mean, I feel like that there would be at least two that would be interested in some of the things that you guys have mentioned, from the resume to the presentations to the oral histories of their families to um creative writing to, I mean, to all of these other things. I feel like that we would have at least two, so we haven't it would not be taking a step back, basically, to have two people attend a workshop, because that would be two people that benefited from a workshop rather than one person of the two that benefited from the scholarship.
Yep.
So,
True. Hmm.
you know, that's just a thought. But
I,
Yep.
I would fear that the two might not justify the time commitment from the volunteers we're pulling from Swanee or whatever to do this workshop, though, right? I mean, we
right.
we, we want it to feel good for them,
Well,
and
then,
they're
Well, and we would fund
yeah,
the expertise.
right.
Was what I
Um,
was thinking, Theresa. I don't know if that's
Well,
what
I
you
didn't. I
talked about.
may not have mentioned that, but stipends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
so I would recommend reaching out to Allison Button and Jessica Reed, who
That's
both taught in Grundy County.
yes. You were reading my mind. Thank you very much, Aaron. They've been boots on the ground, right?
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah.
If nothing else, they may know resources within the high school to reach out to
Yeah.
get buy-in.
And
let
Susan
me
just
ask you
put, we
this too.
also have potential volunteer teachers. So yeah. Sorry,
Uh,
Nancy.
oh no. So I mean, we're not creating a brand new wheel. I wonder if there are programs in Sewanee or wherever that we could kind of get on their coattails and ride with them. So if they're having programs that are similar to what we're discussing, maybe they have remote programs, for the students that we could tie back to the historical society.
There very well may be. What Susan didn't Susan just pop up and say it just went away? We want it. We were
Bring it
trying
to
to
Beersheba. Hmm.
bring it to Beersheba
No,
as
I mean,
well.
bring it to Beersheba, but have it. Well, it's kind of like the presentations, for the members of the historical society, that we have, 4 or 5 times a year. This would be the same thing, but for our students, high school students,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
um, make it fun. And if they're already doing some type of class, might they do it remotely with a stipend? And we just help facilitate it on this end for the invitations through the school guidance counselors, or, the boots on the ground, or whatever.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna, Teresa, if unless there's anything else you want to venture into right now, let the folks receive what you're gonna send, and
Okay.
then we can go into deeper.
And I've taken notes on what you've said, but it would be really helpful if if you don't mind, to reiterate some of those and back at us via email as well, so we could sort of pull that all together and then come back in November.
So you might want to capture, and I'll actually save the chat, but you might want to capture three. So what Susan just put in, she put a lengthy note about Mary Priestley and some other stuff there.
Okay.
So, but I'll see. I think I can save the chat. Let me see.
Yeah, I
Yes.
do know. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll have that to
Yeah.
give it to you as well.
Yeah, I do. Really appreciate this feedback. It's
Good. Well,
really good.
thank you to the three of you for really rethinking the wheel here because we knew we were getting to a point we needed to do that, and there's many directions we could go. I think this is exciting as well. So,
Thank you.
okay, I'm going to move us on to uh, we have been, as you know, some of you are new to this, but we've been working on a logo. We don't really have branding for the Historical Society. And so Elizabeth and I have been working with Deborah Bowling over the last, how long has it been? 7 months? Something like that. And we went back to the drawing table a little bit in August because we got some really good feedback from some of you. And then we were hearing some other things that Deborah brought into play and felt we needed to kind of reshift our thinking. So we've done that. We've got a really good, I think, piece that Deborah's now working on to refine so we can bring that forward. So I anticipate she thought actually she would have had something last week, but she did not. So I expect we'll hear from her this week with her first version of this new approach, and then we'll tweak that. And so I would anticipate we'll have something in October as far as that logo. So thank you to those of you that have been, I know Elizabeth has called on some of you for additional input and feedback on where we were going, and that's very helpful. And so we want to make sure it's something that we can work with over time. Logos don't have to stay forever. But we want to start with something that we feel speaks to who we are and will be something we can ensure works in different formats. And we'll share some of those ideas as well when we get the logo we'll work from. So, Elizabeth, unless there's anything else you want to share about that at the moment, we're not going to really show you anything today. Okay. Just want to give you an update on that. We also are still looking forward to the website project. Don't want to go there till we get this logo business done because that design idea helps drive design for the website. But the first thing we need to do is gather requirements. And I don't know if any of you have been through this process before. I've designed a number of websites, had to do it for two corporations. And part of what you start with is what do we want it to do for us? What's the goal? What's the purpose? So don't be restricted by what our current website is. Just think right now, what do you think people should expect to find and learn and be able to do if they come to the Berkshire Springs Historical Society website? So put your thinking caps on. I'm going to send you a questionnaire to work through and think about that so that we can start gathering all those thoughts together. And some of it is not necessarily just content like we have now, or you can look at some photos, or you can order books, which is basically printing a paper form. We don't have any integration. So part of what we want to do is be able to have people be able to do things in that website, be it donate or become a member, whatever it is, and not have to print something and mail it to us, etc. Some people still like to do that. That's fine. But for the expectations these days are very different about what people should be able to do and learn and find, etc. on a website. So we want to think about what does our audience expect? What do we expect as an organization to make sure is there because it meets what we want to achieve? And then we'll figure out the budget and the timeline. Deborah, that we've been working for, does websites. We don't have to go with her, but I would advocate for that because she has learned a lot about us over the last 7 months. And so I think she would understand where we're going. But based on that, then we'd work out all the technical aspects, the actual design and user experience, which she would help us with. And then also analytics. I'd love for us to now be understand who has come, or at least where are they going? What are they clicking on? Are we getting traffic or not? And is that helping us or not? Because if we go further into technology helping us out in the future, we may want to put some recordings of things there. A lot of our recordings are on the Grundy County Historical Society website. They're not on our own. We may want to make other things available for people to see and do based on what we've got going on. So I'll send you that questionnaire, and that's basically just to help you start thinking, and then send me a little bit of what you're thinking so we can start to put our heads together around that. Does that make sense? Now, if you haven't been to our website in a while, do go look at it for knowledge of what we do have right now. Since I've been able to start maintaining it, taking that from John, I've been trying to keep it up to date. So at least the front page that lists our schedule is always current. Right now, it just shows the programs that we did have and then some active information about the barn dance coming up, so that we don't have things immediately in front of us as far as schedule to put there. Publications. So we have many books that the Historical Society in the past has put together and also published. And we also have note cards we've sold. We have had postcards, but and then some smaller books like the John Armfield book, the Howell book, the Virginia French, etc. So I want to give you an update. We started selling in the market last year. To date, in this year, we have netted $357 from the market. What we do right now, we just changed our model with them because we were having to collect sales tax before, but now we're paying sales tax on the front end to Amazon for the printing of the books that are done through Amazon. So we no longer do the sales tax through them. So roughly we give 10% of our sales to the market for hosting us there. So the 357 accounts for the net income we have. At the fair, last year we actually sold $500 worth, which really surprised me. This year still did pretty well, $333 from books and things that we sold at the Arts and Crafts Fair. And thank you again to those of you that sat in at the table. So the museum, we need a better tracking system. So I'm going to work with Sharon on that so that we can be quantifying what comes in there, because there are sales that happen there. Not a huge amount, but there are some still. Our current inventory, just to let you know, we're always trying to make sure we have enough that we can keep stocking. John recently reordered for us more of the French books and 2 of the history volumes that we were getting low on. We're really low on the Tate books because now that Rick Huffines and that organization is talking a lot about Leonard Tate, I think we've seen some uptick. So I need to work with John to see the best way for us to get more of those. Susan says, do we want to mark up the books at the market by 10%? Susan, that's a good question. We have done very little increase in the sales or the fees in a long time. It is a small profit margin. You're right, Susan. So I think we ought to look at that. In fact, maybe I'll send that list to you all, and we have a chat about it. And I could get the current costs that we do through Amazon. It has gone up a bit for the printing of the ones that we do the printing through them. That's a good question. And then I think if you've not seen them, Monty Wanamaker, who was a Beersheba person at one point as well, we had a number of note cards that Monty drew buildings around Beersheba as well as other places in the area, Altamont, Monteagle, etc. We have actually sold a lot more of those. Yes, thank you, Susan McMinnville. And I'm going to not approach this right now, but I want us to think about, do we want to do more of those? And if so, we need to see how, because I don't see, and Susan, I may bug you about this, any record of how that worked before. I've been trying to get in the Southern Museum where Monty's partner, Monty died a few years ago, but his partner still runs the Southern Museum in McMinnville, but they've got really limited hours, which I now have in my, from going in and taking a photo of the sign on the door. It's like 3 days a week for 2 hours each of the 3 days. So I'm going to try to get over there and talk to him because he doesn't answer the phone and talk about those. But anyhow, just so you know, we're getting low enough, and we had to throw a number of them away because they were so mildewed. And again, we have an issue with things being in the museum building. So I'm trying to protect them as much as possible now, but also we need to keep at least one of each of those, and we've actually gone through all the library ones. So there is one at the library, which I've taken a picture of, but I want to get a hard copy one if we can. The postcards, the ones that don't look like from the 1960s and faded as well, believe it or not, still sell. And there's been a couple of black and whites of Greeter Falls that sell. And Audra has said, hey, if you guys ever do postcards, they will sell like hotcakes here because nobody has Beersheba Springs postcards.
Mm.
Hmm.
So that's a project. I put a little bit of note in that document I sent you. We don't have time to go into it today, but I'd like us to think about that because I've talked with Peg Williams' daughter, Chandler, who does that kind of thing, and she herself has photography of this area and can do more. So I would like us to consider it, just so you know. The
And we
last thing
also,
about this, I'm sorry, somebody was saying something.
yes, with the publications, when you're in Beersheba, there's no place where you can find a nice Christmas ornament. Like we collect Christmas ornaments wherever we go. You can't find it anywhere. So if the Historical Society, I think we could have
Huh?
something historical with a new logo on it, something cute and something people really want, nothing cheesy, something nice. It doesn't have to be really expensive or a little globe. People like to bring stuff home for kids. You know, a t-shirt with these old photos. People will buy that and there is a march on it. And
Okay.
we can make some money with that. But I think there's truly interest because now the Persian market, the BS t-shirts, there's a very limited amount of people who will sell that and buy that and ever wear it anywhere besides in Beersheba. But they have
Sure.
a nice t-shirt. And then of course the park, they have theirs, but it's truly all about the park. But I think
Yeah.
some historical buildings of Beersheba, they I do think we could have something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sylvia, if you don't mind, would you send me an email kind of detailing what you just said? I think we
Yeah.
we should keep gathering these ideas. You've seen a lot in my document if you've opened that, but I think we should keep gathering those because there are other things like that. I agree.
Yes.
I don't know if you all saw the woman who did the woodcut work, Nancy Smith. She's a relative of Nancy Gay Woodley at the fair. It's really cool, and she did the hotel. I've got it over here.
Mm.
Um, I had it sitting at the booth for a little bit. I don't know if you can see this.
Yes. Hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's laser cut, but then
Yeah.
she does hand finishing on it. So, there's things like that that are kind of unique, and it's one of our own folks that might be interesting as well. So there's all kinds of ideas I think we could consider like that. And Celia, I that like your thinking as well. So we'll keep gathering those ideas. Now, what I put at the bottom of this page Aaron Reed, because somebody asked this question last year on the board, and I can't remember who asked it, about could we sell our stuff? Was that you, Elizabeth? At the park visitor center. Aaron came back like, "Hey, yeah, that would be really great." And I was so surprised he was so excited about it. We were talking in terms of the new visitor center, really more than the current one because they have a very limited space in there. But he was all for it, said we could certainly do that and work out an arrangement, blah, blah, blah. So I don't, we're still a ways away from the new visitor center, but there's an kind of a cool option to hit the public and make them aware of the historical society's work. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move on. And since we are at time, I'm not going to go into the museum stuff. This can wait. I just wanted to let you know one statistic. According to the sign-in book, there have been 60 visitors so far this year. As you know, we only open May to October on Saturdays afternoons. So 60 is not bad, to be honest, and for those short time frames, especially since we really don't push a lot on the museum right now as well. What I was joking about with Letisa is I expressed some surprise and kind of bothered that I didn't know until I saw it. There's two signs up front that say museum parking out only, if you've seen them, big green signs. And I was like, Sharon, where did this come from? Um, well, you need to talk to your commissioner. So apparently the town council decided they were ordering some signs for other things and had heard that the ballpark people were parking in front of the museum on Saturday afternoons. So she took it upon herself to get these two signs. So she called me yesterday to apologize that she hadn't made us aware or hadn't made me aware. I told her I really appreciate the effort. I didn't really think too many of the ballpark games were on Saturday afternoon, but they are, like the tournaments that somebody corrected me on earlier. So bottom line, if you see those, that was the work of the city. And I told her I'm not crazy about the look of them, but appreciate the effort. Maybe we work on that later on. So they're trying to help us out there. Thank you, Aaron. I apologize. I'm running overtime here. So I'm going to move us on and just say that as far as the board goes, as you can see here, we have a lot of areas and we're working in. So if there's a particular area you would like to own, I would love that. So consider it under the opportunities there. And then on the right, these are just short-term things that are coming up. And I'll just let you look at the slide when I send it out. But if there's an area you would like to particularly get connected into, then let's do it. So that said, because I know we're at time, we have currently scheduled a meeting on November 18th, so I'll be checking in to see if that's still going to work. And I would, if we're all in the country, like to keep it in the evening just because then we can get Stephanie because she does have a regular daytime job, and it's difficult for her to do daytime meetings if we can avoid it. So we'll just see where everybody is at that point. Yeah.
Can we just briefly talk about the barn dance because it's coming up? It's
Sure. Yes.
so
Yes.
who is doing what?
So
What is
right now,
needed, else?
yeah, so food is set. Hickory Creek is doing that. I've got the band set. They're from Chattanooga called, oh shoot, the name keeps escaping me. But anyhow, I think they're going to be great. By the way, Kenny Barrett, who has performed in the past, died in July. I don't know if you all are aware of this. He's buried at Hunawatl Cemetery, just so you know. I did not know him personally, but I had heard of the band many times. And I guess, Teresa, you might have heard them last year when you were there, right? Okay. I don't even know what age he was, but and don't know the circumstances around his death. But
Could I ask something about the music? Is it going to be a music like dancing, square dancing kind of thing, or
it's
color and all that? Because there's a whole group of people I know down the valley and around here that are really seeking out that kind of opportunity, and especially bringing in some young folks that they're doing some classes and stuff out here in Mont Eagle.
okay. This is not so much square dancing. It's going to be a mix of country and pop and stuff.
Okay.
It'll be good for line dancing. It would be probably better.
Okay.
Which I was trying to get since we did square dancing kind of stuff in July, I thought we'd do a contrast for this one. I sent a link to one of their recordings in the last distribution email, but if you want to see and you don't have that, I can give you a link to go hear them a little bit. And then Bean is going to do the hay rides again. So as far as volunteers, what I put in the last email, if you saw it, is we could use volunteers the day of. So what I put in that email had the timing and everything. Theresa and Norm had already have said they would help with covering tables, but I have not heard from anybody else yet directly.
I can
So
do cleanup.
okay, cool, great, thank you, Nancy.
I'm going to be traveling during that time. I'm sorry I'm not going to be here.
Okay,
I
no
can,
worries.
Nancy, I help with the cleanup. And then
Oh,
who's also having pumpkins and stuff, decorations to be
Yeah,
left
and you know what? I have never done it, so I'm not sure what they have done in the past. I think it has been pumpkins and mums and maybe hay bales.
Yeah.
Teresa, do
Sylvia,
you recall?
if you're, I'm not a very good creative person, but if you are and want to join us in coming up with ideas to decorate, I'm happy to help execute. I'm just not a good.
Okay.
I'm happy.
creative.
I'm gonna probably go down valley anyways to the Amish, so I can probably pick up pumpkins from there.
Okay.
Because we're getting up Friday, and I just bring them, we decorate the barn dance, and I just take them home afterwards,
Okay.
decorate outside the house or
Easy.
somebody else.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah, anything you all think that's fall, autumn, I guess, you know. We don't have anything that we keep year to year for the fall one. We have the patriotic stuff that we keep year to year, but so it's basically whatever we get new.
Does
Yeah.
anybody have the decorative corn on the cob? You know, like
Yeah.
the different colored corn
Yeah,
you can
that'd be
pick
great.
up.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
anybody have that?
I don't know.
We don't already have it. Is that what you asked?
Yes, if anybody has it or knows.
Oh,
Oh, no, no.
we don't as a historical
I think
society,
we
but
can
I don't
have
know
them
otherwise.
down there. So see if you can get
Yeah,
And I
anything like
know, I think Kelly Baggett has helped in the past. She may know what some other things they have done. I think she went to get mums one year. There's a place that she was saying have huge mums. They're $12 a piece, which is great. So we could always do some of that. I'd be happy to pick some up somewhere as well.
And then you can say well, that makes it a little difficult. I was going to say if you wanted to buy the centerpiece at the end, you could, but that's a whole other thing.
Oh, for the tables?
Hmm. I know that complicates things, but
No, we could. I mean, that's not a problem.
mhm.
Um, so
So
yeah,
would it be, so if all of us are going to buy pumpkins and mums for our homes, then could we just all bring our stuff to the barn and then afterwards everybody take it home? You know, that way it would be more than just, Sylvie bringing stuff. I mean, it would be a lot to ask to have her bring all of the stuff. But I mean, like if we all had pumpkins and things like that we could bring, then and mums, then it would spread out the it would spread out
yeah.
the responsibility. I don't know, just a
I,
thought.
I think personally, I think that would work. And by the way, save your receipts, y'all, because we're not expected to pay for this stuff yourself, right?
But if that's what I'm saying though, like if I'm planning on buying pumpkins and mums
Yeah.
here, I don't want you to have to pay for my pumpkins and mums, but I don't mind sharing them at the farm, at the barn dance. So
Oh, okay. Then you take them with you. I see what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
same here. I think we just need to find out. We probably need a lot of small ones for the tables. We can't put the big pumpkins on the tables, and
yeah,
those might disappear. People might just take some home, which is fine. But we
Yeah.
definitely need to figure out how many tables we have to
yeah.
put a little bit of
Yeah.
on the tables too, so the tables are not just plain. And
Yeah.
assume, do you have anything we put on table like a cloth or a paper cloth?
We
Or
have table coverings, so no need to do that. Now they're not fall-like. They're like red and white checkered, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So they're more
Yeah.
patriotic looking than they are fall-like. So if we want to use something else, we can certainly do that. Um, and there's tw should be 12 of those tables, which are 8-foot tables.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm
But
So
happy. I'm coming in from Atlanta. I can look and see when we get back on Wednesday, so I can look and see on Thursday and just report what if I can find something on one of these TJ Maxx or whatever else,
Mhm.
the party places. And it should be
okay,
on sale, actually close to whatever holiday it is or festivities.
okay.
If it's
And
close
I'll
to
look
it,
at tablecloths too. We usually get the disposable, the like vinyl plastic kind of thing, right?
I mean, honestly, Dollar Tree has seasonal things like
I,
that.
Oh, that's
And
true. Yeah.
I mean, and you're talking about $1.25, a piece.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that might, they're thin, but they're disposable and, festive. So,
That's all we
um,
need. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
maybe
yeah.
whoever gets
I'm
it
going,
first, just let
yeah,
everybody else know.
I'm going to McMinnville tomorrow and there is a Dollar Tree there. So I will go and see what they have and let you know. And
That'd
if
be
I find
great.
things that I feel like we need, I'll get them.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
That would be cool.
okay.
Um, and just so you know, I keep an inventory of all the tableware stuff. So we have all that, the cups, the plates, the blah blah blah.
Okay.
So there's nothing in that way that we have to secure. It's just decor.
Hmm.
Andrew, I'll have to check out, but I want to ask, has someone volunteered to do the drinks, what we call the bar? Because
Not
that's
yet. No.
okay. Okay.
So we could use one or two people, if somebody doesn't want to do it all night to do the bar stuff.
Yeah, we need to get that done.
Yeah.
Just do a time slot. No,
Pardon?
an hour and a half, and then somebody else takes over.
Sure.
Two
Yeah.
people at one time, then two afterwards, so
Yeah.
everybody can mingle with other people too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody has to do it all the way. No.
Yeah. So because I'm doing cleanup, I can do the last whatever shift of whatever it is. So if somebody makes out a schedule, then whatever the last one is, I can take.
That's great.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I will put a little list of these things together that I was asking for volunteers for, and then we can use that as a central place to see how we're being covered. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, thank you all so much. This has been a great meeting. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
Anybody have connections? So does anybody have connections to get the hail, the snowballs?
I'll ask Bean because he has to get it for the hayride anyhow. So I'll see if he can get us some extra, like square bales, do you think?
Yes, just for probably 2 or 3 at the few, I think, usually on the dance floor or where the music is at the stage, and then at the entrance. I think they usually
Okay.
do.
I'll get him to get us 4 or 6.
So
Just in case.
Susan said she has hay. I thought I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, I see. Oh, I had missed her notes here. Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Bale.
Stocks. Excellent. Okay. Thank you all.
I have one thing. It's something different. I won't take but a minute, but this came in the mail to me yesterday. I started teaching out at St. Andrew Swanee in 81, and I took and a teaching colleague, we used to take students over to spend time with Leonard Tate. And so yesterday in the mail, I got this copy, which is 49 pages. It's sort of soiled, but from my old teaching colleague, and with notes and Leonard's signature and his notes in here.
Oh my gosh.
And it is like, I read through these, and these are poems that I've never seen before.
Oh my
49
gosh.
pages. And there's his, I don't know if you can read that.
Hold
Yes.
on to that.
Wow.
Actually, I have a copy of that.
Oh, awesome.
Just yesterday, in fact, I want to make sure it's the same one, but just yesterday, this is a box that was in the back of the museum too. It's all the planning work that went into the book. And so there's like tons of poems. And what I want to do is look and see which of those went in and which didn't, because they didn't all go in that book, right? And like you're saying.
Wow.
So we ought to compare it to yours to make sure it is the same, but that signature in the writing there looks like the page I saw. So maybe maybe it's a video copy of some kind.
Oh, okay.
That's giving me chills. That's awesome.
Yeah, I personally want to see it because we're still trying to find the original photo that was used, because Rick Huffines was asking for that, but we haven't been able to find it. But everything else from the book is in there. All of Herschel Gower's notes and all
good. Okay.
It was like them going back and forth with the editing and how is it going to be bound. It's just the whole work stuff. Now it's in this nasty cardboard box with spiders in it, so I'm going to get something new to put it in.
One of the things, there's pages of tributes because his poetry was published all over the place.
Yep.
And some very famous writers had written in. And there's potential here for something. And I didn't know if this had been saved, but his private note there for my special students at St. Andrew Swanee, with love and appreciation. Tate, October 18th, 1981.
Wow. And
we used to sit out there and he would, talk about writing poetry and all that stuff. So anyway, so I'm glad that there's a copy of this somewhere.
Maybe we ought to do a Leonard program. I mean, there's just a lot of And if we, maybe we read some of the poetry that's not in the book, and I could see it being really.
I read through a bunch of these last night, and these are ones I'd never read before. He had given these to us, and maybe
that's probably different
some of
than
the points to talk about with the students. Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you're here next, bring it, Sanford, and let's compare it just in case, because I may not be talking about the same thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually coming to Beersheba tomorrow. If I can do anything, I'm going to spend the day there. So I'll, if you need me to help in the museum or any of you, I'd love to meet you all at some point that I haven't met. So let me know. I'll let you know when I'm over there. I'll text you, Andrew.
Okay. Because I've got the box here. If you want to come by here and read all that stuff.
I'll bring this with me. Okay.
I'm missing my ride, so I'm going to run, and I will send out things, and you all give me more feedback.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
Teresa.
Okay.
All right, folks, I've kept
Andrew,
you long
Andrew,
enough. Yeah.
Andrew, one quick thing. And you mentioned the current situation at the museum, but is there a dehumidifier in there? Do you need a dehumidifier?
There is not a dehumidifier. That's not a bad idea, but the problem we're finding is we put anything else on the electric system there, it blows it. This is one of the big problems that we have to fix in there. I mean,
Yeah.
we could barely put a small fan. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to say, it's just the state of things.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get it all either out, or what I think I'm gonna do momentarily for the files is get sealed boxes like we've done for the books, because I mean I finally got all the books in sealed boxes because we were ordering books and they were starting to deteriorate. It's just ridiculous. So I think I'll
Okay.
do
I
that for
was
the
just curious.
files, and at least it'll help with the stuff that we're trying to make sure it doesn't get any worse now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just a thought.
Thank you. It would be very appropriate. Yeah. But um, yeah, and I'll have more to tell you all. Elizabeth and Larry and I have been talking with John, and there's some exciting, very exciting news. I just can't share it quite yet. And which we may be on the precipice of being able to do some really good things around this. So we hope to know more soon. John's working on something for us. Yeah. Okay, y'all. Let me let you go. Thank you so much. Great meeting.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Have a
you.
good. Bye bye.
Take care.
Thanks. Good to see
Everyone.
everybody.